It's not a secret that the average NBA player makes more in 1 month than the average person in 1 year. Obviously, the bigger the responsibility, the bigger the paycheck, and there are players that could make more money in a year than an entire MLB roster. Look at the 2019-20 Tampa Bay Rays, they are a good example of that. You can't win in the NBA unless you have a great point guard. Not a good one, a great one. That means that all teams must spend big bucks to keep their floor generals under contract for the long run, as they're an extension to the coach's tactics right in the hardwood. Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that being said, let's get right into this. More often than not, that means that some players tend to be slight or enormously overpaid, not because they're not elite bowlers, but because their team can compete for an NBA championship, and trading them is off the table with those kinds of massive deals. Today, we're going to let you know about the top 10 highest paid point guards for the 2020-21 NBA season. If you thought that Jamal Murray was overpaid before the start of the season, I guess you've changed your mind already. Murray broke out in the bubble in Orlando and showed that he can become one of the most unstoppable scorers in the NBA after leading the Denver Nuggets from a 3-1 deficit in back-to-back series. Murray isn't the average pass-first kind of point guard and will look to score every single time he has the rock on his hands, but he can still lead the offense if needed or when Nikola Jokic isn't on the court. He's barely scratching the surface of his potential. Kyle Lowry has redeemed himself over the past couple of years. He had a poor reputation for earning a lot of money and falling short in the playoffs, but he's definitely turned that narrative around since the 2018-19 campaign and is now one of the most respected veterans around the league. Lowry is the true definition of a 3-and-D point guard. He'll take 10 charges per game, lead the offense, and knock down shots from beyond the arc any given night. He doesn't impress with athleticism or a quick first step, but he's savvy and has proven to be a great leader. Damian Lillard took a major step forward this season. He had already proved that he was the right guy to lead the Portland Trail Blazers to contention, but what he did this year with an injury-riddled roster is notable, especially when it came to leading them to the playoffs. Lillard is one of the most unstoppable scorers in the league. He's got unlimited range and the green light to shoot from all 3 levels and is a hard, relentless competitor that can get hot in the blink of an eye, although his defense is never going to be elite. Kyrie Irving was playing at an MVP level before falling down with an injury, and is clear that the Brooklyn Nets are 100% invested in him as the point guard of the future. The talent is there, the experience is there, and hopefully, his focus will also be there next season. The Brooklyn Nets didn't hesitate to spend big time to sign Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and they're expected to be one of the biggest powerhouses in the NBA entering the 2020-21 season once they're all at full strength. Judging by the market and his age, this was a bit of a bargain. The Boston Celtics replaced Kyrie Irving with a completely different personality in Kemba Walker. Kemba is an easygoing team-first, low-profile kind of guy, but don't get it twisted, he can score in bunches and is one of the best facilitators in the league as well. Kemba Walker's playoff performances left a lot to be desired, though, especially considering he's one of the highest earners in the league. Still, the Boston Celtics have a young, promising core that'll fight for an NBA championship for many more years to come. Mike Conley was considered one of the most underrated players in the league before this season. He never got an all-star nod, and it felt like his numbers were due to the Memphis Grizzlies' slow-paced old-school offense. However, his production was quite underwhelming in a way more modern offense. Conley is set to earn a lot of money next season, and the Utah Jazz are likely to try and move him if he doesn't execute his early termination clause. He was pretty solid since the restart of the season, but just didn't look like the same player he once was for most of the year. John Wall couldn't suit up this season as he nursed multiple gruesome injuries, which is terrible news for the Washington Wizards after they signed him to such a massive contract extension, as there are serious questions about his ability to come back at the same level. When healthy, there's no doubt that John Wall is one of the best two-way point guards in the league. He's fast, athletic, aggressive, and a top-tier playmaker. Hopefully, he hasn't lost that quick first step that made defenders dizzy every time he drove to the rim. A lot of people predicted that Russell Westbrook's huge contract extension was going to backfire for the Oklahoma City Thunder, but once again, Sam Presti pulled off a nice deal to always come out on top. Now, the Houston Rockets must deal with his contract. Westbrook showed some nice rapport with James Harden during some stretches of the season, but it's clear that there are still some adjustments that have to be made if they intend to coexist in the offense. There's no denying his talent and impact, but he must finally embrace a lesser role if he wants to win a ring. Chris Paul and the Houston Rockets drew a lot of criticism when they signed him to such a massive deal. People thought that toxic contract was never going to allow Paul to be surrounded by elite players and win a ring, and while that could be true to an extent, Paul is still one of the best players in the world and is worthy of every penny. Paul is the ultimate floor general and has turned every single one of his teams into a contender. He's likely going to play for a different franchise entering next season, and hopefully, he'll have a shot at winning that much-deserved NBA championship before retiring. For years, the Golden State Warriors enjoyed the biggest bargain in the league with Steph Curry's contract. Now, it's time for them to pay him what he's worth, as he's set to be the highest-paid player not only point guard in the league in 2020-21. Curry is the greatest shooter of all time. He's a three-time NBA champion, the only unanimous MVP in the history of the league, and the main reason why the Dubs became such a deadly dynasty over the past 5 years. So yeah, he's definitely earned that paycheck. And that will conclude the video. Let me know all your thoughts on this down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. With that being said, I am out. Peace.